Hi, I've been culturing Daphnia both indoors and out as an excellent live food for my fish for many years. Today, I want to show you how to culture Daphnia indoors successfully. So let's look at my Daphnia culture setup, and we'll start from the top here with the lighting. I'm just using an old T5 aquarium fixture, and that is for several reasons. One is that the Daphnia are attracted to light, and so they congregate at the surface, allowing me to net out large quantities of Daphnia easily. Another one is that it just makes it easier to look at the setup and see what's going on. And finally, if the light encourages any algal growth, the Daphnia and other species in here will eat that, and so that's beneficial for them as well. Let's look at the aeration here. As you can see, it's very simple. I'm just using some rigid and flexible airline tubing attached to an air pump, no air stone, and there's a very specific reason for that. An air stone would cause much finer bubbles to be produced, which can be damaging to the Daphnia. Smaller bubbles can actually get lodged in the carapace, or the shell of the Daphnia, causing them to float to the surface, where they'll usually die if that happens. Now here is how I change the water in my Daphnia tank. This is just some PVC pipe and some elbows and this valve. I attach them with cement, PVC cement, and whenever I want to, I can just flip this valve and take out a gallon or so of water. I like to change a gallon or two of water every week. The reason I don't change with my water changing equipment that I use with my aquariums is to prevent the slight possibility that hydra from my planted aquariums or other aquariums could infest the Daphnia culture and eat all of my Daphnia. And as you probably noticed, there are other species here in the tank with the Daphnia. I have ram's horn snails, scuds or amphipods, and I even have some smaller creatures like seed shrimp and copepods. Now all of these seem to be beneficial. They certainly don't harm the Daphnia, and I think they actually help the Daphnia to do well. One reason for that is that I can put large pieces of food such as lettuce leaves or zucchini slices in, and the snails and the amphipods will eat them. Daphnia can't really eat things like that, but the small particles and especially the infusoria that result from the ram's horn snails and the amphipods and so on eating those larger foods are a supplemental food for the Daphnia. And that's kind of a good segue into food. What do I generally feed my Daphnia in addition to what I already mentioned? Well, I do put fish food pellets in this culture, as well as zucchini slices, lettuce leaves as I mentioned, and other foods like that, but those are mostly for the snails and the scuds or the amphipods. So the main food that I use for the Daphnia is a mix of several flowers and spirulina algae. So I use powdered spirulina algae, rice flour, wheat flour, and chickpea flour or garbanzo bean flour, as well as green pea flour. Now, the reason why I use these is that, one, they're really easy. I know a lot of people use yeast and things like that, but I found that they're really easy. They're basically foolproof. Yeast can sometimes kill Daphnia if it's not used properly or if it's overfed, and these foods tend to work really well. I just mix the dry powders together, put them in a small container with some purified water till they reach a consistency that is just very watery, and then I'll drip between 5 to 10 milliliters of this liquid into this aquarium every day or so. The Daphnia eat that, they do well. The larger particles are consumed by the snails and the amphipods, and the smaller suspended particles are consumed by the Daphnia, and it works extremely well. I also have some small pieces of cuttlebone in here for calcium. That's partly for the snails, but Daphnia and scuds also use calcium for their exoskeletons to a smaller extent, so that's why I do that as well. Now Daphnia, of course, make great food for a wide variety of fish of a wide variety of sizes, because the Daphnia themselves vary in size from the newly born naupli to the larger adults, and so you can provide live food for a wide variety of fish. The Daphnia themselves are a great conditioning food if you want to get fish breeding. And the fish, of course, are very attracted to the hopping motions of the Daphnia. The scuds and ram's horn snails can also provide live food to a wide variety of species. So if you're at all interested in setting up a Daphnia culture, I highly recommend that you give them a try. There are lots of Daphnia strains out there. Some are easier to culture than others. If you have a success or failure story that you'd like to share, please let me know in the comments. My channel, Aquarimax, is all about aquarium and vivarium pets and the live foods that we culture to feed them. If you'd like to see more videos like this, Please subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss any of my videos. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe.